So just remember to breathe, and ask yourself, what do you really want? What do you want to do with your life? What is it that we want lots of, that we want to do? And what you might find is that the first few answers which come into your mind are like, there might be money. And like money is quite interesting, because with the coronavirus, I think we've all learned quite a lot about money. Money has been an interesting thing with the coronavirus, because a lot of businesses have, instead of being obsessed about making money, cause that's why we're so proud of the NHS work. Because originally you think of doctors, oh yeah, they want to be rich. But when it becomes now, oh wow, doctors are putting their lives on the line every day. We're lucky to have them in this meeting, aren't we? Even people like Umar who give, sorry man, I don't want to pick people out. I think all of you do this. Every single person in this message, in this group chat does this to some extent. I want you to figure out for yourself. But when the coronavirus came, we suddenly realized that our talents are actually to serve the world. Not so much to make money. Money became a bit less important. Even Costa started giving free coffee to NHS. You know, some restaurants and takeaways, I know a lot of restaurant takeaway owners, they now open to serve NHS workers because they give half price to NHS workers. So people stop existing to make money. And if you ask yourself, bring in curiosity to that question, what do you want? Do you really want loads of money? Is that like a really useful thing to have? And when we think about this a bit deeper, sometimes it comes down to control and power. Like, I want to have like a wife who never stays the same age. I want to have access to beautiful women. I want to have access to instant gratification. I want to control everything. I want to be able to go where I want. I want to be able to see who I want. I want to live where I want. And I want to just control the world, control everything that happens in the world, control all the systems of the world, and just be in charge and have power. And then I can watch whatever I want. Instant gratification is basically that. I get my phone out and I can watch whatever I want straight away. Very often that's the direction the world goes to, isn't it? Like a few years ago we couldn't do that. And then when we have instant gratification, suddenly it's like, oh wow, we can just get whatever we want. We want that control. But if you think about control, do we want to control the future? We don't really want the world, our future, to be that predictable. Do we really want to just control everything? Are we so obsessed with controlling the world? Because if you ask yourself, even if you had control, let's give you control, let's make you dictator of the world, let's make you God. Well, what would you do with your control of the world? And very often people don't know, nobody's already thought about that. When it comes down to it, nobody wants to be Allah. Nobody wants to be in the position of Allah, of actually running the world. We don't know what we want to do in the world. Okay, Sahil, go on then. What's your question, Sahil? Let's carry on with this. We'll come back. Okay, don't worry, man. Don't worry. We'll come to questions at the end. Let's just finish the exercise. But it's important to keep that curiosity on the question, what do I want? And realize maybe we don't actually want control. Because if you give you control and it'll make you the dictator of the world, and you run the world, go on, put you in charge. What do we need in the world? How are you going to solve every problem in the world? How are you going to do it? How's power going to help you solve that? In fact, an excessive love of power is actually what causes the need for instant gratification all the time. When we take a step back from that, we realize we don't actually need to control everything. And this is where it's a bit of a problem, because if I ask you that question, what do you want? And you say, I don't know, then that can be a little bit more powerful sometimes. Thinking about it, you probably don't know what you want. Maybe you've never thought about this before. What your soul actually wants. Because now, rather than thinking what your brain wants, we might be thinking what your soul wants. And when you actually ask that question and you bring curiosity here without being too scared of not knowing the answer, Shaitan's not got coronavirus, unfortunately. I don't think coronavirus worked on him. So he's still here with his unconscious energy. So he's saying, no, don't think about this. Don't think about what you want. Don't let your soul decide what you want. He's like, stay with instant gratification, carry on eating, drinking Coke, eating too much sugar, being addicted to your phone, and just, rushing through life doing random things. Don't think about what you want. But when you ask your spirit what you want, and then you realize you don't know, sometimes that's the very act of Islam and surrender, and being a Muslim. And this idea, again, come back to that speedometer. Imagine that speedometer. There's 100% surrender, 100% Islam, and 0% being connected to Allah and surrender. So what I want you to think is, perhaps like somewhere you're on that scale somewhere. You might not know exactly where you are. You might be 100%, you might be 0%, but most likely you already have surrender. Like Sahil just mentioned that he's hearing inspiration from Allah. I'm sure we all have to some extent. Allah is there for you, but it is important to ask what exactly is it that you want and realize that you don't know. And when you realize this, sometimes, there's two reasons why we don't know what we want. Yeah, is everyone there, man? There's two reasons why we don't know what we want. The reason we might not know what we want, number one, and this is quite interesting, it might be because you already have it. That's why the gratitude course is so powerful. If you do the gratitude course, you realize what you already have. I'd recommend this every day. Even if you finish it, do it for your whole life, every day. 5 minutes a day, gratitude. You start realizing what you have. So you stop being so controlling of what you don't have. You don't actually always want so much stuff which you don't have. So gratitude is powerful in that regard. When you do gratitude every day, you'll become somebody who actually realizes what you do have and how much power you have. But there is another reason why you might not know what you want. Just 1 minute, man. The other reason why you might not know what you want is because you might not know yourself. Yeah, like if this is the first time you've done an exercise like this in your whole life, don't expect to become an expert today. Put everything on that spectrum. If today's the first time you've realized that you don't know what you want, put that on a spectrum. There's 100% not knowing that you don't know what you want, and there's 0% knowing that you don't know what you want. This is the art of Islam, being a Muslim and surrendering to Allah. This is really, when we say that Allah's already written everything down and decreed everything and decided everything and you don't have to do anything, that's what it means. That Allah's decided your life for you, you have to trust Him. So that's why I really do recommend these courses. When you do the reciting Quran course, primarily reciting the Quran is surrendering to the book of Allah. When we pray salah and we say Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, we ask Allah to guide us to the straight path, because we don't know what the path is. Otherwise we'd ask Him to make us more money or something. That we'd ask Him to give us a big business. We ask Him to guide us. And it's good to know that your soul is a bit of a mystery, man. The Quran says that. وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِّنَ الْإِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. You've only been given a bit of knowledge about the soul, man. So when we stop, this whole idea of when you actually ask yourself that question and kind of surrender to Allah, that in itself is Islam. That's what submission is. That's what surrender is. And just not trying to control everything so much. Again, I do go back to the same idea. You are powerful. You do a lot, but you're not in control. So learning the Quran, like if we were at madrasa, and if everyone goes back to the day when they were in madrasa and learning Quran and learning about Islam, learning about Allah, and there might have been physical violence going on in your madrasa. The teacher might have hit people to learn the Quran. You might have been shouted at to learn the Quran in a certain way. That's a shaitani thing, man. That's the devil. All of that resistance, you become resistant to learning about Allah. So curiosity is extremely powerful. That was just a little taste I wanted to do. Yeah, man. I hope everyone enjoyed that. Did anyone learn anything? Give a bit of feedback, please. We're running a little bit late. If anyone wants to leave now, you're welcome to. I'm just going to take some questions and just summarize a little bit. It has been an hour. But any feedback, please? Yes, Sahil.